Okay. So yeah, so I really think like I think um yeah, so I really think definitely like intelligence, um not intelligence, but like I think yeah, like I think intelligence can definitely come when there is peace. I think when someone is healthy in mind and emotions and um when someone's just healthy overall, and they're just in a state where they just live in a state of balance and peace. Um, I think that definitely kind of I think that definitely can um I definitely think that um okay, so hmm, hmm, um hmm, okay, so I think yeah, because I think um definitely anxiety, kind of having internal like turmoil, someone having like kind of endless like conversations, having like just a lot of excessive thinking and stuff, where they have a lot of anxiety, just internally, mentally, emotionally, and things. I think that that kind of internal imbalance of conflict, just having that internal, um, you know, kind of insecurity inside someone. I think that that can definitely um, lower someone's intelligence. Um, it can definitely lower someone's intelligence because they are not um, conscious of um, yeah, like someone at that point isn't conscious of um, like because they are so focused on their because all their consciousness is centered on this internal thing that's going on inside of them, then they're unable to like see process the external world, um, and unable to process the external world, then they can't or well yeah, with being unable to process the external world, then it lowers their intelligence because they just can't solve problems, like they can't function or interpret the external world and kind of interact with the external world because their internal world is so um, severe that like their internal stability is like fractured, so like they have to instead so like they have to be checking internally to kind of create some semblance of balance inside themselves. And then because all their energy is focused internally, then they don't have the energy externally, and they can't maintain like balance and like be able to just interact with the physical world and that kind of thing. and function well in the physical world. Like I think someone who's really maybe mentally or emotionally someone who's like really mentally or emotionally kind of like uh they're just like there's a lot of turmoil or like a lot of stuff that they're suffering inside, like emotionally and mentally, then it might cause them to not like because of that internal thing, then it makes them unable to like process the external world and then like if like let's say they're driving or I don't know, riding a bike or just doing something um like that's a physical interaction with the world that their emotional state can create instability in their um, physical interaction with the world, which might cause them to like you know run into something or maybe just cause them to actually physically like have an accident, like knock over something or ram against something. I think yeah, you know what I mean. So anyway, um, yeah, like ran, yeah. Um, so um, but yeah, I really think like um, uh, yeah, I think like um, yeah, and I think that there's different kinds of intelligence. I guess for me specifically, kind of what I understand the most, maybe in regards to intelligence, is like um, philosophical kind of, you know what I mean, like intellectual, psychological, stuff like that, like stuff about religion and philosophy and stuff. I guess is kind of where I'm more more understanding in, but there's definitely like lots of other aspects or kinds of intelligence. Like there's like maybe physical or skill intelligence, like um, yeah, like doing physical stuff like martial arts or doing stuff where it's not so much like a kind of idea centered study, but it's more um, like uh, more like physical skills. So um, anyway, but uh, yeah, I really think definitely anxiety and worry and um, just having fear, just having um, yeah, definitely just having fear and stuff is definitely yeah, so definitely like just living through this life where like Jesus keeps my flesh like makes it impossible for it's just so just living with childlike faith and simplicity of just believing the Bible. Just don't like overthink it, but just believe the Bible and I just live it and like my flesh is kept my physical flesh, my meat is kept entirely healed because it is impossible to just living where it's just impossible for sickness and for me to get sick or to have worry or anxiety, just living where it's like I'm you know, I'm living where I'm like just not affected by anxiety and by just death and stuff, then that is definitely a big intelligence booster because like when people get caught up in sickness or disease and stuff, then it just drains their life and it drains their ability to think and to do and to just yeah, it drains the intelligence because it drains the actual life. It drains away our energy so that we can't actually use our mind to think deeply about things or to you know do physical skills or practical stuff. Um, so yeah, um, yeah, uh, yeah, yeah. But anyway, I guess that's really all I have. Yeah, um, yeah. I just kind of and a lot of the stuff, it's like okay, well, there can be different stuff, but it's like new ideas I have not had before is like a different thing. So sometimes it's that, but I think more times than not, um, more times than it is where it's like a new idea I have, the majority of the time it's not a new idea, but the majority of the time it's a um, not a new idea, but it's more a just like it's just like a mental kind of replay of what's already happened. So um, which doesn't which that in itself I think is kind of a lack of intelligence because and like it's not my fault. It's not my fault. But yeah, it's a lack of intelligence because if that was freed up, like if there was not just that kind of oozing around substance where it's like just a mental replay of what's already been going on, where it's not gaining any intelligence because it's just repeating what I already know and just like okay, I know that the sky is blue, and just saying the sky is blue is not going to help me learn anything new or understand anything new about it because I'm just repeating the same thing that I already know and understand. So it doesn't increase my understanding and it doesn't, you know, grow the intelligence at all. So yeah, definitely in that sense, that's definitely a lack of intelligence. That's one area where there's a lack of intelligence for me is that I um, just tend to my mind tends to replay. Like I don't do it. It's not my fault. Like I'm not. It's not. I'm not in control of it. I'm not choosing it. But it just does it on its own, where it just replay. It just replays what has already been happening, um, and just replaying what has already been going on. Yeah, like I said, doesn't increase intelligence. So, um, yeah. So that's really it. But um, so yeah. So yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else. Yeah, just like replays. Um, yeah. So at this point, it's just kind of is what it is. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of trying to find it and find it, but um, yeah. So um yeah. So anyway, um yeah, I can't remember any specific things, but yeah, there's just uh like I think there's kind of some things that are like mental ways that our brains conceive something, but like we don't we don't conceive how that's not possible. Like for example, people say, God just spoke, said a word, at the beginning of time, God just spoke a word and then everything just appeared. So it's like we just naturally, not naturally, but well, yeah, like, or I don't know if it's like, okay, because what, okay, maybe it's not natural, maybe it's just because like when I think of natural is like just ingrained in our biology or psychology, that that's the way it works. But perhaps it's not, it could be that, but it might be not that. Um, it might be like, uh, it might not be actually psychological or biological, like just a natural tendency. It might be more like just ideas that have been passed down, or like, well, like, okay, like I heard that idea from someone else, and then I just hear it and I'm like, oh yeah, that I just agree with it without questioning it or thinking about it deeply. So I just mentally accept something just because that's what someone told me, or something I heard. So I just accept it without questioning it. Yeah, just because I just don't think deeply enough to actually question it. So I just accept it, and then I tell it to someone else, and they accept it, and it just goes on. So, and I guess it could be that, but so um, so yeah, I don't exactly know, but what I do know is that, see, okay, because if we say this, and this is I like this is objective knowledge, like this is not subjective, this is objective knowledge, that the universe is um, God took all God took the unseen and formed it into seen. So okay, because like I heard this guy say, well, God created matter out of nothing. Okay, but how do you define nothing? Because like, does that make sense? Because that idea is like we just picture it as there's this vacuum of nothing and then something's there. But okay, but like how does that happen? Like where does this nothing come, like how where does the something come from? Well, it comes from nothing, but how can, see, something can't come from nothing. Um so, creating matter out of nothing, it's like, um I think we misinterpret, we people like don't see that there's a problem with that idea, because um people don't see that there's a problem with that idea because you can't take, like, um yeah, I'm trying to my thoughts, but it's coming out really it's kind of hard to get it out. But I'm having trouble. It's hard to flow out of me right now, but uh, I had a long day, but um, okay. So something out of nothing. So like, okay, um, yeah. So it's like they just say, well, God just said a word and then something appeared. But it's like, you like it has to come from something. Like what it, like, okay, like what is that when you say something comes out of nothing or like something just randomly appeared, like, so, but like the existential thing is like, um, there had to be some kind of process for that something to appear. Like, and so it's like a mental fluke of this. Like, okay, because even that conception didn't come out of nothing. Like the actual out of nothing concept, the conception in our heads of out of nothing, like, is still within something. So like there's not an actual reality that we can conceive that's an out of nothing. So it's basically the something out of something that we have that idea that it's out of nothing, but it's actually something. Because, or we have that idea where it's out of nothing, or it's something out of nothing, um, but like but like where does that something come from? You know what I mean? Like um, like it can't, and I'm not really doing a good job explaining it today, but I know what I mean, and I know it's anyway. So yeah, so the something can't come out of nothing because um, something cannot come out of nothing because um, because okay, if that's the case, then okay, because if it's like God is floating in this vacuum, then that means God is separate from the vacuum. So there's something else that's not God. Like, and there's this vacuum that is not, because, you know, we say, well, God created this whole planet. We generally understand that. But then, it's like, anyway, um, anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, all right.